Alright, here we go. It says identify the horizontal and vertical asymptotes. So there's that, my HA, my VA. Then state the domain and range for each function. Alright, so here's the deal. Your domain and range, if you recall, is all real numbers. It's everything except the asymptotes. Because that asymptote is the one place that the graph will not be. All right, it won't be. It'll be anywhere but that fence. So if you can identify your asymptotes, and the way we'll say that, the way we'll state that is we'll say something like, we'll go x bar. So introduce your x. X does not equal. Let's say your asymptote is at 4, so it does not equal 4. That means everything but 4. Remember, this is how it works. For set builder notation, it's, hey, I introduce what I'm talking about, put a big bar to separate them. My x does not equal 4. Which means x is everything except for the 4. So again, introduce your x, introduce it. Same thing for range, except for range is y. So that would be y does not equal. Let's say it has an asymptote at 4. Or 3. Let's say it has an asymptote at 3, so y does not equal 3. That's what they're going to look like. Okay? So here we go. You find your asymptotes in the bottom and out back. So for my vertical, I take that one. X minus 5 equals 0, so x equals 5. That's where my vertical is, because if I put a 5 in there for x, again, remember the reasoning for this. The question is, what x value that if I put there, I get a 0 in the denominator, which I cannot divide by 0. Well, in this case, it's a 5. Because 5 minus 5 is 0. And that'll make the fraction poop itself and not work. All right, your horizontal asymptote. Your horizontal asymptote is always y equals 0, except for if you've shifted it up or down. Which in this case, we've shifted it down, so it must be y equals negative 3. All right? And your domain and range, remember, it's everything except for your asymptotes. So in this case, your domain is everything except for that vertical asymptote. And your range is everything except, no, it's not x, it's y, except for that horizontal asymptote at negative 3. Okay? Your domain and range. Because remember, you're going to have those, and your graph is going to go left, kind of look like this. It'll go left forever, and then it'll look like this, and it'll go right forever. So there's 2 spots where it breaks. Run right here at your horizontal, so that's where your range is messed up, and run right here at your vertical, so that's where your domain is messed up. Okay? So, I say okay. Alright. See if you can do the rest. So, number 14. I want to know what x will give me a 0. So I'll say 2x plus 7 equals 0. That's a 7, and that is a 0. Subtract the 7. Divide by 2, negative 7 over 2, which is what? 3.5? So x equals 3.5. Or negative 3.5, actually. Negative 3.5. Okay? Which means my domain is everything except for that negative 3.5. Alright, your range is y equals 0, but it's shifting up. So y equals 4. So introduce your y does not equal 4. Cool. Alright, these ones are slightly different. We find our vertical the same way. So it's still going to be x is negative 4 because we got x plus 4 equals 0. Let's take consistent pair colors. X plus 4. Therefore, x must equal negative 4. That's my vertical. which means my domain is everything except for that -4. Your horizontal, however, since we have an x both on top and on bottom, what we're going to do is we're going to remove those front coefficients. So that's a 2 over 1, y equals 2 divided by 1, which is 2 divided by 1 is just 2. Okay. So my horizontal asymptote is 2. Remember, if we've got an x on top and bottom, we take just the coefficients from those two front ones. So y cannot be 2. All right. If you haven't done 16 yet, go ahead and pause the video and knock it out. But in the meantime, I'll do it real quick. Wow, this whole thing can be divided by 2, but whatever. We're going to go with it. So let's take the bottom. 8x plus 24 equals 0, so that's 8x equals -24. -24 divided by 8 is -3, so the vertical asymptote is at -3, and if that's where my vertical is, that means that is the one place that it cannot be. My horizontal asymptote, remember, we just take the numbers off the front. So that's y equals 2 over 8, which is 1/4. Y equals 1/4. That's my horizontal. And therefore, wow, that was a horrible curlicue. Big, little big. Whatever, that's better. Y cannot be 1/4 or 0.25. That's fine. I don't care if you use decimals so long as they're not repeating decimals. Don't round. If you have to round, use the fraction. All right, and that's that.